We're gonna give these things another go. Last time, the car just spit them out, but I tried to stuff them in here as best as I could. Still not sure if it's gonna work, but I figured I'd give it one more go.
How's it going, guys? The FRS is getting some much needed love today. We have a huge suspension upgrade to install. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you already know about this. I partnered up with Fortune Auto. This has been a long time coming. I've actually had these for quite some time now, waiting for the perfect moment to install them. These are their 510 series coilovers that are gonna be better in pretty much every single way compared to the coilovers that are currently on the car. Better build quality, performance, and honestly, comfort, even though these are gonna be dedicated for track use. They also come with a 5-year warranty, which sounds absurd. Right now we've got a 10K front and rear setup, but on the new Fortune Auto coilovers, I've spec'd a custom 8K front, 10K rear with Swift Spring upgrade. So we're going a little bit softer in the front. And what I'm really looking forward to be able to do is aggressively attack the curbing out on track without feeling like the suspension is just bouncing me across the track. The 510s have essentially a blow-off effect that disperses and absorbs that energy without instantly transferring it to the chassis, which is gonna make it a lot more predictable and compliant at the limit. So let's go ahead and get the old suspension off of the car. I'll give you guys kind of a side-by-side comparison of what we can see, and then we can get the new setup installed. Also need to get this garbage off the sides of my car. If you guys ever need to remove stickers, decals, vinyl, whatever you want to call it, off your car, grab a heat gun or hair dryer, heat it up, take a plastic razor blade, and it'll come right off. And then you can use some of this 3M adhesive cleaner to get any of the residue off. This stuff works wonders. I'll link everything down below, but this needs to go. Can't forget these two. Whoa, Kevin, why'd you take off the other two? It's the same shit, guys. Subi Speed, FT Speed, Rally Sport Direct, Grim Speed, just to name a few. There's a lot more. It's all owned by the same company, and I refuse to support them any longer than I already have. Most of you guys have probably seen me install a set of coilovers before, but for those who haven't, I'll give you a quick rundown. It may seem daunting at first, but this is a great way to learn how to work on your car. Grab a friend who's done it before to help you out. If you have a jack stands, and common tools, you can do this in your very own garage or driveway. We're gonna start off in the front here. We need to unclip this ABS line from the coilover or strut. Mine are pretty worn, so I should be able to just pull these out like so. And then we need to unbolt the brake line. And then we need to unbolt the sway bar end link over here. We can move on to the two large bolts that are holding the coilover to the hub. Just be aware that once you take these out, nothing is holding the hub up anymore, so it can drop down. So just make sure that you have something supporting it underneath, like a jack. These are also usually on here pretty good, so you'll likely want a breaker bar. I'm gonna leave that in there for now until I get that bottom bolt out. Like I said, I've got a jack underneath the hub now, so when I pull this bolt, it's not gonna just fall straight down. It has something to support it right there. There's gonna be these 3 nuts left holding the coilover in place. Once we remove these, it's gonna wanna drop straight down. So either have a friend grab a hold of it, or what I like to do if I don't have any help is to remove 2 of the nuts, leave 1 loosely on there, and I can grab the coilover in the wheel well with 1 hand and take the nut off with the other, and then I can pull the whole assembly out by myself. I'm supporting it with my left hand there while I remove that last nut, and then I can come down here and carefully take it out. The rear is really straightforward. We just need to drop this lower control arm. So there's 3 bolts. There's 1 holding the coilover in place, the 1 holding the sway bar end link, and then 1 that holds the lower control arm to the subframe. Once we have all 3 of those removed, we can swing this arm down, and then we'll go up to the trunk. Inside the trunk, you may need to remove some of the carpet lining to access this, but there's gonna be 2 of these nuts. Remove these, and that coilover is gonna drop straight down. I've got the old setup off of the car, so let's take a quick look and see if we can notice any big differences. Obviously, the most important differences we're not gonna be able to see in the damper bodies, but there are still some things to point out. I've got the Swift Spring upgrades here. You can see they're a lot slimmer in profile and thinner as well, so that'll give you some more clearance, which is very important, especially if you're running a super aggressive wheel and tire setup. The material and process they use to make these is what makes them superior. They're gonna be a lot more consistent, durable, and lightweight. Now, a problem I actually ran into recently when I installed a set of FactionFabs on the GR86 is the hardware on the top hats. The studs snapped off on me. Even though the nut threaded on there just fine, when I went to uninstall it, it snapped. That's not gonna happen with the nice hardware on these Fortune Autos. We also have a Koyo Japan radial bearing here that's gonna help to get rid of any spring bind. You don't get that over there. You also notice that the locking collars are a completely different design. These have some large locking collars. You get them into place and then you lock them down by tightening an Allen bolt. A lot easier to make adjustments, and you're not gonna be busting your knuckles trying to loosen the traditional setup. The lower mounts themselves, you can see that this just looks a whole lot beefier. We also have the bracket for the brake lines. It extends out a little further, keeping that away from the suspension components. We also have a nut already on here, so you don't have to fiddle around with a nut and bolt. The bracket for the end link looks sturdier. It's got 3 points of contact instead of just the 1. Like I said, guys, the attention to detail and the build quality is just a whole lot better, and that's what you get and expect from Fortune Auto. Before we can install these on the car, there's a couple things that we need to do. The first thing is set the preload. So figure out the suggested preload for your application, and this is how you set it. You need to measure the length of the spring when it's uncompressed. So loosen this collar here and measure it. Let's say this is a 6-inch spring. It should measure around 6 inches. And if you need 1/8 of an inch of preload, you spin this collar to compress the spring until it reaches 5 7/8 of an inch. Lock that down and your preload is set. Now, the second thing is the ride height. You're likely going to need to adjust this once it's installed on the car, but you want to get it similar side to side so you don't have to chase down measurements later on. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier. To do that, you loosen this lower collar, and because these are off the car right now, I can just spin the mount to set the ride height. But if you're doing this on the car, you loosen that collar and you use the top collar to spin the damper body, either threading it lower into the mount or the opposite way to raise the ride height. And now that that is covered, I'm gonna go ahead and get these installed on the car and get the wheels back on, and we'll see how we did on the ride height. it is definitely not looking too shabby, guys. Also, that big box arrived while I was doing the install today, so I'll have to show you what's in there in another video. But the front ride height looks to be similar to what it was. I do need to add more camber. Haven't messed with the camber plates yet. In the rear, looks a little bit higher than what it was, so I'll probably lower it and, again, add more camber. But we did it. Everything's installed. The wheels didn't fall off, so we did something right. I promise I'll get you guys that alignment video. I need to do a string alignment on this and get everything fixed. The toe is way off on that, but yeah, it's installed now. And there you go, guys. The coilovers are finally installed. I have a few adjustments I'm gonna make, but nothing interesting that you guys need to see. I am so excited to see how this thing feels out on track now. For those of you who are already running Fortunatos, I'm curious to hear what your experience has been like, so comment down below. And if you guys are in the market for a new suspension system for your car, check out Fortunato. They have tons of different options for a wide variety of cars, so you can get everything from a comfortable street setup all the way to a sophisticated three-way adjustable setup that's way over my head. I am so thankful for this partnership. I need to slap their logo on the car, but we'll do that another time. Let me know what you guys think. What else should I do to the car to make it go around the track faster besides swap it? I'm all ears, but that's gonna wrap it up for today, guys. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.